everyone. Tonight I thought I'd talk about wind industry failures. There's things you should know. These are just a few examples and I'll get into some of them specifically. They've got lots of oil in them. It's fossil fuel oil. Synthetic oil is still fossil fuel. And when they fail, they can harm the environment. They're very fragile creatures, dependent upon the wind and then damaged by the wind. And when they collapse, they look rather comical, don't they? In cold places, they have to de-ice them using fossil fuel powered helicopters. No irony in that, is there? In Germany, they had their energy wind program, getting rid of nuclear power and fossil fuels and chucking up turbines everywhere. It's turned into an economic failure. Out in the oceans, these offshore farms, the turbine blades, the leading edge gets eaten by the saltwater spray. And about every 3 years, they're finding they're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds replacing the blades. They're also very dangerous. These two engineers were killed shortly after this photo was taken. As I said, Germany decided to get into wind and solar. Silly thing to think about solar at that latitude. As it's turned out, the experiments failed miserably. There's blackouts, load shedding, incredibly expensive, and the CO2 emissions continue to rise, which is what this stuff was supposed to be all about. This comes from the Stop These Things website, a very worthwhile website to visit. It's destroying our economies. They said they had a chance to do it. They could run on sunshine and breezes, and it was never going to happen. So that program's shrinking and they're refurbishing coal-fired plants and building new ones everywhere. The cost of electricity is all borne by us, the consumers. And in South Australia, we have the most wind turbines per capita in the world, and it shows in the highest prices. Germany's right up there in third place. Other parts of Australia, Victoria's right here. It's probably more like up here, maybe closer to South Australia now. There are engineering failures as well. I'll just pick this one subject because it's very appropriate. Everyone's trying to build offshore wind farms and they need thousands of kilometres of big heavy-duty electrical cable. These things aren't designed to move around. Electrical cable needs to sit still. It can get compromised easy, but the oceans don't let it do that. So the cables, the interconnectors, and all the infrastructure that goes with it are constantly failing. 80% of the insurance claims are related to cable failures. Back in 2016 or 2015, the estimate was £60 million of incorrect installation and failures. In 2006, when they made estimates of it, they turned out to be only 1/3 of what the actual cost will be. The other thing too is wind and solar generate electricity often when we don't need it, because the energy grids operate on demand, and when the demand is exceeded, somebody's got to stop generating. And generally it's renewable energy. Most of the time they're told to just stop because they can stop easily. The big synchronous generators can't turn off very easily. So these things in the UK, they're actually paid to not generate electricity. That's called constraint payments. In Australia, we call it curtailment, and we just tell them, turn your stuff off, but you don't get paid for it. Don't worry, the industry's working on getting money out of that. So in summary, wind turbines contain large amounts of lubricating oils, so they're fossil fuel dependent. And when they fail, they can cause harm to the environment. Sorry, just giving up the smoke, so you have to be patient. Wind turbines are very expensive to maintain and repair. They're also expensive to connect to grids because they're usually a long way away from the transmission networks, especially those offshore ones. Wind turbines and solar farms often generate more than we need, so they're forced to stop generating, and sometimes they're paid to do so. We pay for that. Nobody else does. We pay for it. It doesn't magically come out of some government fund that somebody made up. Wherever renewables are predominant, the price of electricity to the consumer is high, very high. This is very well documented. Don't matter what the climatards tell you, renewables are not getting cheaper. Everything here is from reputable sources and readily available on the internet. If you want, I can provide that information to you. You just have to reply on my YouTube. Thank you.